Hello everybody, welcome to a special episode of Conversation Street. If you're new to the channel, I'm Michael. I do a podcast called Conversation Street with my wife Gemma, who's currently driving, and we're on a bit of a rescue mission today. This is a bonkers story that all came about after a post on Coronation Street subreddit a month or so ago. So the story goes that there's a man who'd moved into a house, found this gravestone in their garden. And it said Stan Ogden, in loving memory of Stan Ogden or something like that. And he didn't know who this guy was. He'd never even heard of Stan Ogden, who, of course, was Coronation Street fans. We know he was a beloved character in the 60s, 70s and 80s, died in 1984. Well, the guy did a bit of Googling, realised that this isn't an actual real grave, but this was a Coronation Street character. And he doesn't want it. He doesn't want Coronation Street. It doesn't mean anything to him. So he wanted to get rid of this gravestone, and we thought we'd take it off his hands. Now, what are we going to do with it? Don't know. Maybe ITV's going to want it, or the tour maybe one day. But for the time being, we're perfectly happy to be the custodians of this headstone. So, yeah, we're going up to try and get it off this guy. Well, we're not getting off the guy himself already. The first stage of the plan has taken place. Our listener Chris has been over there, got the headstone, got it in his car. So we're actually going to Chris's house this weekend to try and somehow get it from his car. This is a really hefty headstone apparently, into our car. And then we're going to go back down to Southampton with it in our boot. Definitely crazy, but we thought we couldn't risk this really important part of Coronation Street history getting into the skip again. There is a story about how it eventually got into the man's garden. More on that later, but yeah, for now, off we go to Liverpool. Wish us luck.
Okay, we made it. We're in Liverpool now. We're in our hotel room. We had a little detour on the way here that you might be interested in. It's Corrie related. You know, when we go up north, we often try and find other Corrie spots to go and visit. So we had to look to see if there was anything in the nearby area here. And it turned out there was. In St. Peter and St. Paul Church in Crosby, which is only about 10 minutes away from where we were staying, actually, we found out that Corrie legend Pat Phoenix, who played Elsie Tanner, is actually buried here. So it's quite a coincidence that we're going up to see a gravestone, or get a gravestone, and we're also heading off to a graveyard as well. Pat Phoenix, you can see her grave actually was marked Pat Phoenix Booth, and this was after her married name because she married a guy called Tony Booth. And there's actually a bit of a funny connection here as well, because one of Tony Booth's daughters was Sherry Booth, who later became Sherry Blair. So she was married to our Prime Minister. Anyway, the story was that in 1956, Pat and Tony had a bit of a fling when he was still married to his first wife, and they broke it off when Tony moved to London and Pat stayed in Manchester, got her part in Corrie. They kind of fell out of touch there until one day Tony had an accident. He fell into a vat of paraffin and ended up in hospital for 6 months. And one day, when he was recovering, he was watching Coronation Street with his mum, and his mum said, "Look, there's Pat, remember her? Give her a ring, maybe getting back in touch with her." So he did, and a love story re-blossomed again. Pat helped nurse him back to health, and before long, they were engaged. What Tony didn't know, however, was just how ill that Pat was. Her lifelong smoking habit had caught up with her, and on the 17th of September 1986, just a week after they got married, Pat sadly died, aged 62. So yeah, we thought we'd go and visit, lay a bunch of daffs down for her in tribute to an utter icon of early Coronation Street, Pat Phoenix. So as I say, we're back in our hotel room now. We also this afternoon spent a bit of time having a look around Liverpool, seeing what other Corrie stuff we can find, and we ended up at the Museum of Liverpool. Now, a number of Coronation Street actors and actresses have come from Liverpool or the area around Liverpool over the years. At the moment, of course, we've got Claire Sweeney in the show, who plays Cassie Plummer, but you also had the likes of Jean Alexander, who played Hilda Ogden, Geoffrey Hughes, who played Eddie Yates, Craig Charles played Lloyd Milani. They all came from Liverpool as well, and there was a wall when you go up to the top floor of the museum that had Liverpool stars plastered all over it, so we found all the Coronation Street ones there. And there was actually inside one of the exhibits a little face mask with Hilda Ogden's all over it from COVID times, and had to get a picture next to that. And actually near me here you can see a picture of Patricia Routledge in character as Hyacinth Bouquet from Keeping Up Appearances. Patricia Routledge was obviously a huge name in TV, and she made her stage debut here in Liverpool as well, but she was in Coronation Street as well for 4 episodes in 1961, playing cafe owner Sylvia Snape. So there's another little Corrie reference for you there. Wasn't a huge stop for Coronation Street things, but we were able to pick up a few bits and pieces.
It's Sunday morning. We're just gone into one of the tunnels under the Mersey. We're heading across to the other side now to hopefully pick up our gravestone. So I'm still not sure how this is going to work, but hopefully it'll be fine. It's going to be fine, isn't it? Anyway, see you on the other side. Okay, so we made it through the tunnel. We're over in the Wirral now, and we're just about to go and collect the tombstone. Just before we do, I thought we'll show you what our setup in the back is, just so you can see whether this is going to work. So I managed to acquire a trolley that we're hopefully going to be able to carry it on once we get there. I don't know whether we'll transport it there now. And lots of sheets and blankets and things and pillows for padding. I'm sure that will make it work just absolutely fine. So okay, let's go and get this gravestone then. Okay, here it is, the moment, the grand reveal. It's Stan Ogden's tombstone. Look at that. In loving memory of Stanley Ogden, a dear husband, father and granddad. Died 21st of November 1964. 84, of course, aged 62 years. Let's try and get it out.
So hopefully what you're seeing now is some footage of the transfer taking place. We had to go boot to boot because the gravestone was originally in Chris's car. We had to get it into my boot, so he backed up to me. We opened up, used a bit of wood to slide it across, and we managed to get it in. It was actually in two parts. There was the base first, and that was relatively easy to get in. But the headstone itself, this was a heavy chunk of stone. We had to get a few other guys to come and help us as well. But we managed it between us. Slid it across the wood into the boot, lowered it down quite a bit, but we managed to get it in, packed it up nice and safely. The tombstone was now in our possession.
Okay, we're on our way back now. We've been driving a couple of hours with a gravestone in the back. So far, so good. It was a bit of an endeavour getting it from Chris's car to ours. He still had his in his boot. We laid a plank out and manhandled it onto there and had to give it a good old shove to then get it into my boot. As you can see, we've still got all the blankets and pillows and stuff that the headstone is nestling in. And yeah, so far it's been okay. We've still got an hour and a half or so of driving to go, and then's going to be the fun part, which is getting it, kind of lifting it a bit out of our boot and trying to get it onto the trolley. Hopefully it's going to be okay. We'll find out, won't we? That's what's up next. I'll see you there. Okay, we've made it home. All in one piece, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, it survived the journey. So did the car. Now we just got to try and get it out.
So first up, what we did was get the base out of the car. That wasn't too bad. Gemma and I were able to do that together. Loaded it onto the trolley that we'd borrowed and had to get it through to the garden. We got a longish path to get down to the garden. It kind of went down a slope. Had to watch out for the cat and then up some steps. But yeah, we were able to get it wheeled round onto the garden to find the place for Stanley's final, maybe, resting place.
Right, so we've got the base lined up. We're going to try and get it onto there. We've flattened the soil out a little bit. This shouldn't be too bad, I think. Gemma's going to help me with this one.
So what came next was what I'd been fearing most during the day, and that was getting the headstone out of the car. It involved a bit of lifting, getting it over the lip, down onto the trolley. I needed some help with this, so I enlisted our neighbour, who now knows something very weird about me, that I've got a gravestone in my garden, and a colleague from work who already knows I'm a massive Corrie nerd anyway, so maybe that wasn't quite so bad. Now, as you probably know, I'm not the most practical of guys, but with the help of Carl and Steve, we were able to get it out of the car and onto the trolley. It basically involved putting one of the blankets underneath the headstone and using that to kind of lift it out, and it wasn't too bad in the end. We're able to gently get it onto the trolley and then between us steer it carefully back down the path up into the garden. We had to work out which way was best to get it onto the trolley so that it would be easier to get it onto the plinth at the end of the journey. But we managed it. It wasn't too bad, dare I say. Still massively heavy when we had to lift it up at the end, but what we were left with was a headstone in a base. It was done.
And here we are. We got it in. Thank you very much to my friends and neighbours who helped us. But yeah, fully installed. So the story behind how this got into the garden is that back in 1998, when the Granada Studios tour was, I think it was still going then, I can't remember, but they were doing a clear out at Coronation Street, and they were building the Victoria Street set as well. And somebody who used to live at this old house was working at Granada Studios, and one day they were coming out of work and saw this in a skip, and she and her brother-in-law were like, "What? Do you want this? Can we have it?" And they said, yeah, for your boots, you can have it. So they loaded the stuff into their van, took it to that house, and there it is. And that's how it got there. And now, a couple of years ago, when this new person moved in, he found this, and well, you know the story from there. So here we are, new resting place of Stan Ogden. R.I.P. Stan.